Hello and welcome to our third lesson as we look at how data can be displayed or not displayed, how it can be summarized with either measures of spread, the box and whisker and the dot plot and that, or with measures of center, mean, median, and mode. And this is something you're probably familiar with, so this might go quickly, but there's some additional things we're going to try to get you to understand. So when we look at the mean, median, and mode, those are measures of center. The median is the only one that shows up in the 5-number summary, so don't get confused. These three measures are not part of your 5-number summary, just the median is. So the mean often is called the average. The median we think of as the middle number, and the mode is the most frequently occurring. Now, how we find the mean, it's the most work. What we have to do is add up, so sum means to add all the numbers, and then divide by how many numbers there were in the set. So if you have 12 numbers, you add up those 12 numbers to get some big amount, and then you divide by 12, that's called the mean. The median is going to be after you order all your numbers from least to greatest, you find the middle. And a lot of times kids cross out from the outside into the middle. I suggest you don't cross it out in case you cover something up that you need to be able to read later. So I just put a dot by it to show that I've counted in from both ends the same amount. If you end up with an even amount of numbers, let's say you have 12 numbers, then the middle number is going to be bigger than the sixth and smaller than the seventh or whatever. It's between the sixth and seventh. You add those two and divide by 2. So if I did have numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3 would be 3 to the left and on the left side, and 4, 5, 6 would be on the right. So it's between 3 and 4. You do 3 plus 4 divide by 2. Anyway, and then I don't really have anything to say here other than it's just the number that shows up the most. So wherever you have a number repeating, it could be your mode. It's going to be the one that repeats the most. If for some circumstance you have two different numbers appear twice or 3 times each, then it's bimodal. You have 2 modes. So typically we're just going to have one mode. One number is going to show up the most. What non-resistant means is if we ended up with a number that was really extreme, so the extreme values typically we think of as outliers, the mean is going to be affected by that the most. If you have the median, the median's not going to be very much affected, but it could be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller because it'll change where the middle of your list of numbers is. And the mode is not going to be affected at all because an extreme value is only going to show up once and modes show up more than once. And the best use for a mean to summarize the data is when we have a symmetric or a normal curve, and we'll be covering what a normal curve is extensively in the next part of this, not today though. And then the median, it's best used if there's a skew. So if there's some extreme values like outliers, the median kind of crosses that out and you end up more in the middle. We do that with house prices. And then just for example, remember what a right skew is. It's where most of the data is on the left. It just gets dragged to the right with the extreme value. Left skew looks the opposite, and then symmetric looks the same on both sides. All right, we'll be going over some of this work in class, so be ready to calculate the 5-number summary, the Q1, Q3, and the range of that called the IQR to be able to find outliers. And then, of course, today's lesson, which is finding the mean, median, and mode.